The silence after the final whistle was deafening. 70,000 fans inside Dallas Stadium had just witnessed the end of an era. On one side of the pitch, Spanish players were celebrating a dramatic stoppage-time victory that had sent them through to the World Cup quarterfinals. On the other side, a 41-year-old legend was walking off the field for the final time. Not with tears, not with anger, but with a stoic look on his face, a brief wave to acknowledge the cheering fans, and the same feeling he had after past losses. He was calm. He was at peace. And then he spoke words that would echo around the world. Words that would finally confirm what millions had suspected for years. Words that would change the way we remember Cristiano Ronaldo forever. "I've given everything. I've given my best, and I leave with a clear conscience," he said. "This is soccer. This is life for a soccer player. Sometimes you win, and sometimes you lose." But that was just the beginning. What he revealed next left everyone speechless. Cristiano Ronaldo's journey to the 2026 World Cup was never supposed to end like this. The five-time Ballon d'Or winner, the all-time leading goalscorer in international football, with 146 goals in 233 appearances for Portugal, the man who had conquered Europe, won 5 Champions Leagues, and lifted the European Championship, had one dream that had always eluded him: the World Cup. This was his 6th attempt. His first World Cup was in 2006 when he was a raw, exciting teenager with stepovers and a burning desire to prove himself. In 2026, he was a 41-year-old legend, the oldest outfield player to ever feature in a World Cup knockout match. The weight of history was heavy. The expectations were immense. But something had changed. Ronaldo had arrived at the tournament with a sense of peace that seemed unusual for a player who had spent his entire career chasing perfection. He had just won his first Saudi Pro League title with Al Nassr. He had been named in Portugal's squad for a record 6th World Cup, a testament to his incredible longevity. And he had made it clear, this would be his final World Cup. "Yes, it's my last one. Let's go and enjoy it," Ronaldo told reporters before the tournament began. But his opponents had other plans. The round of 16 draw had been cruel. Portugal would face Spain, their Iberian neighbors, and one of the tournament favorites. The match was framed as a battle of generations. Ronaldo, the living legend who had dominated football for 2 decades, against a young Spanish side hungry for glory. But Ronaldo was not intimidated. He had always thrived on pressure. "I like playing against Spain," he said. "My record is quite good. I've played them 10 or 11 times, and it's quite balanced." The day before the match, Cristiano Ronaldo sat down for a press conference that would become one of the most talked-about moments of the tournament. He was asked about his future, his form, and the criticism that had followed him throughout his career. And his response was nothing short of remarkable. "I am not the player I used to be," he admitted, the words hanging in the air like a confession. It was the first time he had publicly acknowledged what many had suspected. That age had finally caught up with him. But then came the twist. The defiance. The fire that had burned inside him for 23 years. "You have been trying to kill me for the past 23 years, he said, pointing at the journalists in the room. "But you must have seen that is not worth it. It's a waste of time. But you try and try and try and try and try." The room fell silent. Ronaldo, the man who had been written off more times than any player in history, was fighting back. Not with anger, but with a calm, almost philosophical confidence. "As I said before, I will stop when I choose, not when you choose. You always ask the same question." The journalists in the room applauded him as he walked out. But perhaps the most revealing moment came when he addressed the constant comparisons to Lionel Messi, the debate that had defined his career. "I am not going to be more Cristiano Ronaldo or less because I win the World Cup," he declared, his voice steady and sure. And then came the words that would define his legacy. "Whatever happens tomorrow, Cristiano Ronaldo will leave with a clear conscience, not 100%, but 1,000%, because in life and football I gave everything." What Ronaldo revealed in that press conference was not just a confession about his age. It was a declaration of peace, a recognition that his legacy was already secure, that he had nothing left to prove. He had scored at 6 consecutive World Cups, a record that no one else could match. He had given everything he had to the sport he loved, and now he was ready to walk away. The round of 16 clash between Portugal and Spain was a war of attrition from the very first whistle. Both teams knew what was at stake, and the tension was palpable. For 89 minutes, it seemed like the game was heading for extra time. Portugal had defended resolutely, while Spain had dominated possession but struggled to break down their Iberian rivals. Ronaldo, playing what would be his final World Cup match, gave everything he had. His best chance came in the first half when he stretched to meet João Felix's header across goal, only to see his efforts saved by Spain goalkeeper Unai Simon, who extended his World Cup shutout streak. Ronaldo fired off a backward kick with his right foot after a header by Felix bounced off Simon's shoulder, but the Spanish keeper made an impressive leaping stop. He played with the intensity of a man who refused to accept defeat. He is an example, a role model to follow. This is somebody that we need to celebrate. We're talking about a football icon, Portugal coach Roberto Martinez would later say. For minutes before the break, Nuno Mendes came within inches of giving Portugal the lead when his deflected left-footed strike crashed off the crossbar before Spain cleared the danger. And then, in the dying moments of the game, it happened. Substitute Mikel Merino scored a stoppage-time winner that sent Spain through to the quarterfinals and broke the hearts of millions of Portuguese fans. When Spain scored in stoppage time, Ronaldo immediately collected the ball from the net and carried it back to the center circle, urging his teammates to make one final push. But it wasn't enough. The final whistle sounded, and the contrasting emotions were written on the faces of the players. Spain celebrated wildly, their World Cup dream still alive. Portugal slumped to the ground, their tournament over. Ronaldo walked off the pitch. No tears, no anger, just a stoic expression, a brief wave to the fans, and the same feeling he had after past losses. He had done everything he could. He had given his best. And now, the dream was over. But what happened next would change everything. In the aftermath of the defeat, Cristiano Ronaldo faced the media one final time. The questions were predictable. Would he retire from the national team? How did he feel about the defeat? What was his legacy? But his answers were anything but predictable. This was my last World Cup, yes, he confirmed, his voice calm and steady. It's normal to feel sad to go out like this. But as I said yesterday, I gave everything. I gave my best, and I leave with a clear conscience. It was not a retirement announcement from the national team, but it was the confirmation that everyone had been waiting for. The World Cup dream was over. But it was the words that followed that stunned everyone. The truth is, the biggest title I won with the national team was in 2016, Euros, which for me is just as significant as a World Cup, honestly, he declared. It was a controversial statement, a redefinition of his legacy that left many speechless. For 2 decades, Ronaldo had been chasing the World Cup, the one trophy that had always eluded him. And now, on the day that dream died, he was saying that it didn't matter, that the European Championship, the trophy he had lifted in 2016, was just as important. I've won 3 titles with Portugal. I'm happy with what I've achieved, he said. He reflected on his 23-year journey with the Portuguese national team, a journey that had seen him transform from a teenage prodigy into a national icon. Tomorrow I will wake up as I woke up today, with a clear conscience. I played 23 years for the national team and won 3 titles. Before Cristiano, Portugal hadn't won anything, he said. He spoke about the criticism he had faced, the doubters who had written him off, and the resilience that had defined his career. I even say thanks for the attacks I feel after I turned 40. The criticism is how you grow, so thank you for doing this. It was a moment of profound reflection from a man who had spent his entire life proving people wrong, and it left the world wondering. Cristiano Ronaldo's World Cup journey ended with 27 appearances, the second most by any player in the tournament's history, and 11 goals. He became the first man to score at 6 consecutive World Cups. He had left everything on the pitch, but his legacy extended far beyond the numbers. He is an example, a role model to follow. This is somebody that we need to celebrate. We're talking about a football icon, Portugal coach Roberto Martinez said. There aren't too many Cristiano Ronaldos out there. I think we need to thank him. His dream was to win the World Cup, and he chased it as an amazing example in the locker room. The debate about Ronaldo's place in football history will continue for generations. Some will argue that he was never on the same level as Messi, that his obsession with statistics and personal glory ultimately held him back. Others will point to his incredible longevity, his 5 Ballon d'Ors, his European Championship, and his role in transforming Portuguese football. But one thing is certain, Cristiano Ronaldo gave everything. He dedicated his life to football. He pushed himself to the limits of human endurance. He inspired millions around the world. As he himself said, "I leave with a clear conscience." And that, perhaps, is the greatest legacy of all. Ronaldo also leaves behind a record of 146 international goals, making him the all-time leading goal scorer in international football. He has made 233 appearances for Portugal, a testament to his incredible longevity and his dedication to his country. He has won the European Championship, 2 Nations League titles, and countless club trophies. He has done everything that could be asked of him, and now he can walk away with his head held high. Ronaldo's future remains uncertain. He is not officially retired from the Portuguese national team, leaving the door open for future appearances. "I'll have time to think about it, to be with my family. I won't make decisions with a hot head. Life goes on," he said. He has already achieved what many thought was impossible, winning the Saudi Pro League with Al Nassr and proving that even at 41, he could still dominate a league. The 1,000-goal milestone is within reach, a target that would cement his status as the greatest goal scorer in the history of the sport. "I will finish when I decide to finish, as I said years ago," he had said before the World Cup. And when he does decide to finish, the world will stop to pay tribute. For now, Ronaldo is still playing, still scoring, still defying the odds. His World Cup dream may be over, but his journey is not. He has nothing left to prove, but he will continue to push himself, to chase records, to inspire the next generation. And when he finally decides to hang up his boots, he will leave behind a legacy that will never be forgotten. "I leave with a clear conscience. I gave everything I had. Tomorrow is a new day, and life goes on." Cristiano Ronaldo's final World Cup may not have ended with a trophy, but it ended with something perhaps more valuable: peace. For 2 decades, he had been driven by an insatiable hunger, a relentless pursuit of greatness that often bordered on obsession. He had pushed himself to the limit, sacrificed everything, and given every ounce of energy to the sport he loved. And in the end, he was able to walk away with a clear conscience. "Sad. It's normal after being eliminated like this," he said, briefly shielding his eyes with his right hand. The true measure of Cristiano Ronaldo is not in the trophies he won, the records he broke, or the goals he scored. It is in the millions of lives he touched, the children who grew up watching him, dreaming of becoming like him, the fans who saw in him a reflection of their own struggles and triumphs, the athletes who were inspired by his relentless work ethic and his refusal to accept defeat. He will go down in history as one of the greatest to ever play the game, not just for what he achieved, but for how he achieved it, with passion, with determination, and with an unwavering belief in himself. The final whistle blew, and Cristiano Ronaldo walked off the pitch for the final time. But the dream belongs to Ronaldo, and with every goal he scores, it also belongs to the millions who dared to dream with him. This was not the end, it was the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter of reflection, of gratitude, of peace. He had given everything, and he left with a clear conscience. And that is the greatest legacy of all.